you ready? I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
It's Booby.
And Vina and Chip.
And Rocky.
Does Booby have a word of the day?
Oh, that's right. Booby's word of the day is concupiscence. Concupiscence?
We'll be able to use that.
Speaking of concupiscence, if you want to check out Sori's channel, My Sori Life, check it out right there. And if you want to be angry and frustrated and say, I don't know why people talk about religion and politics, you can go to my channel, which is Middle America with Vin and Sori. We also do firesides there.
Yes,
so,
that's the place to be.
That's the place to be, for sure. Okay, so this is the Heretic.
W.A.S.P.
W.A.S.P.
The Lost Child.
I think we've done one W.A.S.P. song, right?
We did.
That was the girly one.
Yeah. I don't remember.
You liked it and I hated it.
I thought, it's a little chilly in here. We should turn up the heat.
Well, we'll turn on some W.A.S.P. and maybe that'll bring some heat. I don't know what that means. Okay, so the Heretic. All right, let's do it.
Go.
interesting because I was like, oh, I don't know if you
thought you were talking about the hair band.
they were
or
a
something
hair
like
band.
That.
I was like,
yeah,
they're a hair band.
Yeah.
And like, oh, this thing about girls and blah blah blah. And people were like really offended. They're like, how dare you?
Well, I don't blame them
How
because
dare you?
you were wrong, Vin.
Yeah, I think I was wrong on that. I think they have. They're a lot deeper because that first song we heard, it was like the fire one, like Temptation or whatever. I was like, yeah, please, it's just some poppy, get all your girlfriend, Temptation, fire, whatever. But I don't know. This seemed to be really, really, really significant.
Yeah.
Seems like
was he talking about like war and the effects that it has on our young boys?
Well, it just seems to me to be about like young boys young children really, but I think they said something about boys, but without the guidance without the adult guidance that they need, and then they turn into little terrors at night. Gangland's alive when mothers
I thought
cry.
we were talking about like soldiers.
It could be soldiers, but it says gangland. Gangland's alive when mothers cry. So, and then it could be both. But I mean, either way, it's like, to me, the premise that I got was, what happens to kids that don't have the guidance from
I see.
good,
I see
responsible
what you're
adults? And then there's, of course, the Lord of the Flies reference, which is
there were no
that
adults
story
there.
about those kids and the adults, and they descended into madness and violent behavior and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people, I don't think, understood the point of that story because, again, they got rescued on basically a military vessel, on a warship. So it's like they never really get off the island, But you think about child soldiers, like this is we have a Somali refugee population where we live in, and the guy I was talking with, I'll never forget the conversation where one of the dudes from the militia showed up, put an AK-47 in his hand, and said, the next person that walks across, turns the corner, shoot them. And if you don't, we'll shoot you. So it's like, you know what I mean? So like, what can you do at that point?
Kill or be killed.
Kill or be killed, anytime will reveal like the words in the song. So it's like, what happens to a young person when they don't have good, proper adult guidance, I think is the point of the song. And so you have child soldiers, or you have, gangland, warriors, born again to die again. The agonies begin. So it's like you have this constant stream of young boys who get recruited into committing actions that they wouldn't otherwise have committed if they just had some good guidance.
Right. Remember the I think I brought this up before. Remember there was that like video of like those elephants, and the elephants were like all like running around and being all chaotic, and then they brought in like an adult elephant into the situation.
Yeah.
And then he like was stomping around and flapping his ears and stuff, and it kind of brought some order to the chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always think it's funny when there's something in the animal kingdom that's like, oh, that looks like us in a way.
Yeah. A sad child of madness, they'll never be free. Soldiers keep coming like warriors, they die. But gangling's alive when mothers cry. Because hate's blind addiction's a killing machine, and it burns on the fuels of shattered lives. Lost child, lost child.
Inside.
The seeds of evil are sown in their minds and harvest the sad fields of woes. Because dead boys are martyrs that live on forever. But now it's too late for their souls. Yeah, so it's even in the inner city, like we were not child soldiers at all.
Even what? In the city?
In the inner city,
Yeah.
the hood,
Yeah.
ghetto. We weren't child soldiers, but if you look at the urban community, in the 60s and the 70s when we had Martin Luther King and Malcolm, we were great.
Yeah.
And then the war on drugs and other things came in and completely, and if you look at us late 70s, 80s, the community was completely decimated. And then, we had these kind of, like for example, the Crips and the Bloods were gangs that were originally formed basically offshoots of the Black Panthers to police the neighborhoods, to keep them safe from police.
Right. Right.
And then those got co-opted into being the military arm of drug organizations.
People say if you just do what's right, you won't have to worry about it.
Right. Those gangs are co-opted.
But that's not true.
Those gangs are co-opted into drug organizations to be the military wing of drug organizations. And so that's where you get. So it's like, even in the inner city, you create, if you create a vacuum of leadership, and this is just human nature, if you create a vacuum of good leadership that actually cares about the kids, then you're going to create other leadership that then begins to use them as resources. And so it's like, here we go. And it is really interesting because there is a martyrology in gangsterism, in inner city gangsterism. So like, if a guy goes into territory that he shouldn't have been in, and he continues to wear his colors, he died for no reason at all.
Yeah.
But he gets exalted as a real one.
Because he kept his colors.
Because he kept his colors. He died for no reason. Like literally no reason other than he kept his colors. And so there is a whole martyrology around that. And being and then you have role models. I remember growing up and Tupac was like this big role model because he, before he got shot, he was fighting Orlando Anderson in that club in Las Vegas, and so he went out fighting, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, he was a multi-millionaire. He got cut down at 25 years old for no reason. Like, you're rich. What are you doing brawling with people?
I think that like the one wearing their colors and going through like another part of town, it's, if you step back and you look at it, you're like, that's foolish, he died for nothing. But like, probably coming from that person's point of view, they're like, they have a reason, something that they believe in. And so they're willing to die for what they believe in because they have something.
Yeah, but the something that they have is nothing. Like, they're believing in a color. Okay, like your blood. Okay, great.
I know what you're saying.
Your Pyru. Yeah. Okay, good. So you're because everybody needs something to live and die for. I firmly believe that, but it's got to be something significant that's like existentially positive for the planet.
Yeah.
Like for what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing with it's the same thing with Biggie. Like, there were credible death threats on his life, and he went to LA anyway. Why? For what?
Yeah.
We just lost another decade of amazing music. Like, I could still put a Biggie track in now and it's better than anything anybody has, but now it's like, but we have these seeds of things that are, so in our community it was like, and I remember, I've told the story before where it's like, this one kid had a fake gold chain on, the guy come up on 149th Street and snatched his fake gold chain off of him.
I know.
And then he stares the guy down.
I remember this.
The guy put a gun to his head and took his gold, and it's a fake chain, but he had to stare the guy down because he had to show his gangster, and the guy came around and blew him away in front of all his friends. And they had to put him in the freaking train with half of his head gone to Montefiore Hospital. Well, this is what I mean, like this crazy martyrology. Dead boys are martyrs that live on forever. It's like, okay, great, good. So like, most people's aspects of martyrdom, it's a very tough pill to swallow. Where you have people that like go to that length and die for something, but it's not something significant. Like, I don't believe that Islam is a true religion, but if somebody dies in the name of Islam, like, I get it, because it's like there are existential consequences to the truth claims of Islam. What is the existential consequence to being in the Bloods or Crips? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
What's the meta narrative about it?
Yeah.
And a lot of these kids over there in Africa, they're dying in these ridiculous wars for what reason? But they get the people above them funnel these stupid mindsets into their heads to make them believe. Because really, at the end, like a lot of these, if you're a gangbanger, all you are is a military wing of a drug operation somewhere. So it benefits the shadow guys in the back, who you're you're being the guns for. It benefits them that you're willing to kill and die.
Yeah.
Because then they can intimidate other people and have turf wars and all the rest of it.
Oh, I never thought of that.
So that whole, like, I'm a real nigga, all that stuff, all that is just conditioning so that they can deploy you to go do whatever they need you to do so that they can have, because anytime, if you're talking about the drug trade, the whole thing is about territory and land.
Yeah.
So it's always been. So that's all that is. All of that conditioning, that's all that is. It's the same thing with in Africa with these child soldiers. You get a 9-year-old, the AK-47 is heavier than he is.
Yeah.
And they brainwash these kids with the same ideology, and it's all it is. It's just about taking land, and killing other people to take land, and
so
being
wrong.
willing to die to take land. So and of course a person could say, well, what is your military doing? Because they could look at so it's like, okay, so the gangbangers, it's bad because there's a shadow drug dealer in the back, but what are you guys doing? And I remember during Iraq, the whole conspiracy theory that we're in Iraq for oil, which I don't believe. But, I mean, people are looking at it the same way. Like, young men have always been malleable and influenced by people who are in the back, who know that when you're young, you're willing to do crazy things. If you can get to somebody prior to their 28th birthday, you can get them to do a whole bunch of dumb... There's things now I look back, I'm like, what was I doing? But see, the thing for me, like, I was never like, okay, I'm gonna be a gangbanger, because I couldn't do it. Because I didn't like the lack of control. Because I used to hang out with those dudes, and like, if you had to go somewhere and you had to go see somebody, you had to go, whether or not you had a problem with them. You had to do it because somebody. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting any blood on the ground for somebody that I have no idea. No way, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So I never got caught up in that stuff, but I got caught up in other things that were more sophisticated than that. I was, I could see through that. There are other things, obviously, I couldn't see through. They're a lot more sophisticated than gangbangers, but good Lord. Seeds of all evil are sown in their minds and harvest the sad fields of woe. That's good writing. I gotta give it to these guys. I was wrong about these guys. That's good. Seeds of evil, and then you harvest the sad fields of woe.
Yep.
Now it's too late for their souls. And worship the Lord of the flies. That's such a good line. And wade through the slaughter you've made of the brother, and drown in his blood when he dies. Good Lord.
I know. That's sad.
Jay-Z has a song about shooting his brother.
What?
Yeah, he shot his brother.
What?
He didn't die, but they were fighting over whatever, and it was a big ego thing. And Jay-Z took out. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, he took out his knife. And he shot his
Shot
brother.
him where?
I think he hit him in his leg. And he was talking about in the song how when his brother came to in the hospital, and his brother asked for him, where's Sean?
Oh gosh.
Which is what if I would have shot my older brother, that's what he would have done. As soon as he woke up, he would have been asking for me. That's all.
So he remembered that he had shot him. He still wanted to see him, or you're saying he didn't know?
Oh yeah, he knew he shot him. And he wanted to see him. He wanted to make sure he's okay. But see, that's the thing about men. Like, it's so weird being, because people don't understand it unless you're in it. You really do feel a camaraderie. Like, that person really. It's a weird thing when you're in any form of like combat with another human being. It's like sometimes you hate their guts and because they're trying to kill your friends.
Yeah.
But other times, like, it's like. It's very, very difficult to explain that you feel like that's your brother, because there's only an X% of people in the world who are going to engage in what you're about to do to each other.
Yeah.
So it's like you do feel a certain type of camaraderie with them. So it's like the blood of your brother. It's true. That Cain and Abel thing is such a Jordan Peterson says that's such a powerful story. He thinks it's the most powerful story.
Yeah, I've heard him say that.
And he says every time, but that's because, see, that's a story in the Bible that he's paid attention to. All the narratives in the Bible are extremely deep. They all are. And they all speak very deeply to human nature. But the concept that everybody is your brother, and everybody that you kill is your brother, or everybody, or even if you've extracted blood from it. I remember the first time, like, I remember, like, when somebody was bleeding, and I remember it was my fault, and I remember hearing, like, you did that. It was just very plain, just like, you did that. And I just remember, it was just a weird, crazy, sad strange, fearful moment that I'll never forget.
Oh.
But yeah, it's a crazy feeling. It's a terrible feeling. You feel better if it happens to you.
Yeah.
There's a lot less. It's not even. There's not even a category for the word. It's not guilt. It's just a very like terrible feeling. And then you immediately say, well, this and this and this and this and this and this and them or me or my friends or them or da, 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 and you come up with all the stuff and then you feel. But like that concept of having like blood on your hands is like really. It's like it's no joke. Like you never.
Wow.
You never get over that. So.
Are you like a more sensitive person because of that? Or would you say that you were already like that before, but you deadened that during that period? No,
I'm more sensitive to violence now. I mean, that's why I'm a complete pacifist. That's why I don't believe we should be killing as Christians.
No, I mean, are you more like, you know how you are about like people, like?
No, I was extremely violent, and I craved violent interactions.
So.
And there were people that recognized that, and
So you got past that. And then you started seeing people differently. Like, you know how you are about people? Like, you get, like, almost like, there's almost like this deep, strong, like, emotion just, or not even emotion. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like,
yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, I love people now, but I didn't back then.
So you didn't? Mm-hmm. So you weren't like that, like, as a kid, and then you got out of that? And
no.
So you weren't like that, and then you became like that?
No, I was never a lover.
And do you think it had to do with the violence? Or do you think that it was just something that God did in you?
God, changed me. That whole hospital thing. I was a very, very different person.
You're so different. Like, I didn't know you at that phase in your life, but it's extremely difficult for me to picture, like I don't even think about it until you bring it up. And then I'm like, oh, you were violent. Oh, it's very hard for me to like.
Yeah, and you always used to say, well, I mean, we're in the hood, and what can you do? But my older brother was completely fine.
No, I hear what you're saying.
And so was my younger brother.
You were craving the violence. You wanted to be involved in violent things.
Yeah.
It's just very, very difficult for me to picture that from you because I've never seen that angle of you. So.
Well, I mean, you might have, depending on where we were geographically, because I've had some confrontations with people, but they didn't want to go there. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, nothing ever.
Yeah, they didn't want to go there because Maine. People in Maine are not violent people.
Yeah.
So there have been a few like situations where, but.
I'll tell you what. Your hands are fast. I wouldn't want it with you.
But again, it's not about that. I mean, if somebody has a weapon, they have a weapon. I mean, that's it. Mm-hmm. But it's just when you're younger, when you're young, and it's before 28, and it's true. But when you're younger, and you don't think, and then you have other people that can, like I said, whether it's gangs or whether it's child soldiers in Africa, or whether it's you're in this clandestine blah blah blah, and you're special, and you're the 1% of the 1% who can do this, and you've got the combination of physical and mental attributes that only we've interviewed 100,000 people and only 8 of you have blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. It's still manipulating a younger person to get them to do a bunch of craziness.
Yeah.
Wow. And so this song doesn't really produce, but I feel like it seems like this is like 2 songs combined. You don't have to be afraid till I come get you. I don't know. I just feel like that last verse is just the adult, older shadow person trying to convince the kid to go and do whatever.
Oh.
And so it's young, especially young men. Like it's crazy. Like if you don't get caught by the gangsters, you can get caught someplace else. But good Lord. Such a sad tune they rhyme, the bloody boys that sing a wicked song, and for all of them, they're just memories in the wind. On that note, what do you give the song?
8.9. What do you give it?
Yeah, it's a 9. It's a tough song.
Yeah.
Terrible stuff.
Yeah.
Terrible stuff, but definitely wrong about W.A.S.P, that's for sure. No, I mean, he's
Glad you admit it.
They're singing. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. He's singing about some real stuff here. Good Lord. Take care of each other, y'all. Love your neighbor. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.